This dude did $50K his first month in the insurance industry, $85K in his first 6 weeks, and to top it all off, recruited 69 flipping people in his first 60 days.
You think you have to be that much better, that much better looking, that much better in speaking, that much better, that much smarter. And that was a pivotal point in my life where I just went, wow, like I just have to be this much better. I just got to get up 1 hour earlier, not 6. Right? I just got to stay at the office 1 hour later. I got to be able to recruit one more person than that person and just do it just a little bit more than the average, and I can have wealth.
Yeah.
To me, it's great to have a goal, but without a commitment, it's hard to really achieve, or impossible, in my opinion, to achieve what you want.
What was so special about you that you could jump into our industry and pull off $85,000 in premium in your first 6 weeks? Most people don't do that in 6 months, let alone 6 years. Most people are failing. You don't even know how to spell insurance. You still have probably very little product knowledge compared to most people, and you do $85K in 6 weeks.
It was just hustling and getting on the phone and making sure I had the appointments. And, a lot of people work 2 or 3 days a week in the field. That's great. I was working, I wasn't that. I was working 6-7 days. Whenever I could get an appointment, I was running it because I needed to make money. And I wanted to be at a point where I could make that money. But it's like I wanted to have the success that I wanted to have, and I was willing to give up the things that were important to me to get the success that I wanted to have. And so many people are not willing to do that.
All right, welcome back to another Power Player Insurance Influencer. When I say this dude's an insurance influencer, and when I say you want to watch this to the very end, I mean it, and here's why. I'm going to give them all the goods up front so that the next 60 minutes, they don't want to miss a thing, all right? Here's the biggest reason. Marlin Faulkner, it's got 3,000-4,000 views. That interview took off. Marlin Faulkner made about 30-40 grand for 15 years. He met Nate. Now he's influencing the industry like Nate is, all right? Which is unbelievable. That's impact. You talk about impact, right? I don't think you do it for the money, even though you have a lot of money and you always look good, right? You're driving a sick car, but you do it for the impact. That's the number one reason.
Yeah.
The number two reason is this dude did $50K his first month in the insurance industry, $85K in his first 6 weeks, and to top it all off, recruited 69 flipping people in his first 60 days. Like, if that track record isn't enough for you, then turn the camera off. But if that is what you want to learn, then this is the dude to learn it from. Welcome, bro.
You're funny, man. You're funny.
Dude, is that...
I appreciate it. We all know his gift is making you feel like $1 million. So
Dude.
It's an hour, 42-minute flight here. I think it's like whenever I'm feeling down or I'm feeling out or I'm feeling like having a bad day, I'm just going to book a flight to Springfield, Missouri. Just,
I love it, man.
Sit in front of
I
you
love
and
it.
have you,
Have
I
you...
feel like I can walk on water, but no.
Dude, good, man. Good.
I appreciate being here. Really, I do. I'm excited to be here.
Yes.
It was Marlin did a phenomenal interview. I mean, I probably watched it. I know his story. I lived his story with him.
Good.
I was there when he came in and was separated from talking about impact, separated from his wife and was homeless. I'll never forget because it was in November of 2013. And a year later, he wasn't living with his family when I met him. He was on the verge of divorce with his wife. And a year later, he sends me a picture, and he's standing there with his wife and kids opening Christmas presents under the tree. And
if I don't give you goosebumps, I don't know what will.
Yeah, and money can't buy that.
No.
No car, no watch, that's right off the bat, right? And I think that's why I know it's one of the connections that we have is that I do what I do and I work so hard is because of the impact that I can be used as a vessel through an opportunity. Because, if it wasn't for the opportunity that Marlin had, it doesn't matter how much I had an ability to help him or impact him.
Yeah.
And it was because someone, Cody, did that in my life.
Exactly.
And they took, they put up with me and they put up with my crap and my mistakes and my questioning and my failures. And they saw more in me than I saw in myself. And, I was a lost case. And, Marlin talks about struggling for a handful of years. I was working with successful people with a successful opportunity prior to the one I'm involved now, and I was still going broke. So I was like they had a wall of shame I was on there. Of this guy may never get it. Training after training after training after training, he still didn't get it. So
why didn't you quit?
Why didn't I quit? Well, because I wasn't a quitter.
Dude, most people do that. You know
I wasn't a quitter.
I guess not.
I think having the opportunity to see other people around me having success, it's easy to fall in that dark place where you feel like, can I really do it? And that was a question I asked myself all the time. Can I really do it? Can I really do it? Can I really do it? But, I just kept being coached and trained that if one man can do it or one woman can do it, so can I.
Yep.
But if there's 100 or 1,000 or tens of thousands of other people doing it, it's just a matter of me learning what it is that they're doing.
That's it.
To go out and do what they do and find a mentor who's willing to teach me what they do in order to have success. So.
Right. And when I started this, I gave, I talked about how you were able to help transform Marlin's life. But at the same time, he
played a small role. I mean, Marlin transformed his life.
Dude, he had to show up and commit and really go after it. And he did. And we hear his story. It's unbelievable. And it's cool that you were able to play a part in that. What did you see in him, though? Like, that's the question that keeps coming to my mind.
Sure. I knew Marlin for years. We were friends. I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was in between opportunities, I guess the nice way to say. I was unemployed at the time. But I had a mentor come to my life and help me have great success. And then the company that I worked with went out of business. And so I was back waiting tables again. And I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I met him through my best friend. And, at the time, it's like I got him involved. I found another opportunity I got involved with, was having great success. And I got him involved in that, and he failed. And I got involved in another opportunity that he failed at. And then I got involved in the third opportunity he failed at, and it was like, I think he still owes me $50. Marlin, if you're watching, you still owe me $50 from that last one we messed up, right? But there is something about him. I knew he had it, right? I knew he had in him what I believe everyone has in them.
Yeah. What
it is to become successful. That he just needed that right opportunity.
Yep.
And I recruited a lot of people into the business the same time as him who quit.
Yeah.
Right. So, as much as Marlin gives me praise, and I appreciate that, as much as Marlin, talks about how I help mentor and coach him, it was a small role because there was, they say it takes a village. There was a village behind him, with Matt and Brad and Edward and the people he talked about, and even people who had made no money on him, Brian Delaney, and all these individuals that were in his life. There was a village and connected with an opportunity that he was able to thrive in. Yeah. And really what I think he talked about it on his podcast. What really he decided to do, and what was awesome about Marlin is that he blindly followed, with just pure trust and faith. And it wasn't that he didn't get angry or not want to do it all, but we said do this, and he did it. He may not like doing it, but he did it.
Yeah.
Right. We said move left, and he went left. We said go right, he went go right, and he'd begin to question, and he'd catch himself and say, okay, whether it be me or any other people who are involved in his success. And it was when he really started doing personal growth. It was funny. I'll never forget the time that we had a conversation. And I think it's John Maxwell always says, or maybe he's talked about the book, but are you going through life or are you growing through life? And John Maxwell said, what's your growth plan? And we got to hear him speak at one of our events, and it resonated with me. And that's a question I ask everybody, like, what's your growth plan?
Yep.
What's your growth plan? Because if you don't have a growth plan, you're not growing. And no matter how much money you make, in my opinion, you're never going to achieve you're never going to achieve fulfillment.
Right.
You can make a lot of money and still not be fulfilled.
So most people, I love that you're bringing that up, because a lot of people feel like personal development, self-improvement, personal growth, all these things are kind of like cheesy. They're not real.
Right.
They don't help. They don't move the needle.
Right.
But obviously they have for you.
Oh, my life changed when I got involved with personal growth and training and being around people who thought at a different level. I mean, it does sound cliche. You're the direct result of the 5 people that influenced you the most. But it's just what is normal, what's comfortable. You start hanging around kids that have drugs, it becomes normal and comfortable. So
that's right.
You have good kids that do bad things, including myself. And not saying that I was out doing drugs, but I was around when I was in environments where people weren't succeeding, I wasn't succeeding. When I was in environments where people were partying, I was partying. When I was in an environment where people were focused and going to church and doing their Christian walk. That's where I was. And I think a lot of people think they're stronger than they are. You know, and I think I realized that I'm only as strong as my influences.
Yeah.
You know, when Marlin started, I mean, it was so simple. 5 minutes a day. He'd wake up in the morning. You heard his story, you know, gets up at, 3 a.m. and going to the gym and doing 30 minutes, an hour of personal growth. I mean, my God, when I first met Marlin, he like a lot of us, didn't do personal growth. And then he was at a point where it was just 5 minutes a day. I remember he'd watch a 5-minute YouTube video. He'd send it to me. He'd send it out to people, right? And it went from 5 minutes a day to 10 minutes a day to 15 minutes a day to 20 minutes a day to 30 minutes a day. And then he started talking different.
Yeah.
He started walking different. He started to have a different attitude, a different mindset. And skill is part of it, but without that proper mindset, you're never going to have, the skill really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So
I'm going to use the word innate a lot today because it's got your name in it.
I like it. Innate. There you go. It's innate.
Well, I feel like you have an innate ability to...
Should we just call it innate ability?
There you go. Innate ability. A-N-A-T-E. You have an innate ability to physically pull the good out of people.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Or get them to get to another level, because someone doesn't jump into the insurance industry and put up $85K in 6 weeks and recruit 69 people. Like, did you even flip and sleep? Like, you don't do those things unless you have this just ridiculous hunger inside you. And I'm going to release a secret later on if they watch till the end, okay? Where does that hunger come from? Because it's strong, dude. Like, it's crazy strong.
Yeah, and
one of the most driven people I've ever met.
Well, I appreciate that. I always say I'm temporarily motivated to be permanently lazy. Right?
Yeah.
It came from a mentor of mine because I was talking earlier on a conversation that you and Landon were having, and I always had that drive. I think when I was little, we didn't have a lot of money. I came from scarcity, and my parents loved me, but we were in a situation where my dad worked and had made $36,000 a year. Wow. Family of 6. So our Saturday mornings consisted of and I had 3 sisters, 2 older, 1 younger. Okay. And our Saturday mornings consisted of laying out the newspaper. Before the internet, obviously. Yeah. Laid out the nother, and my mom and my sister would be circling all the yard sales that were around, the garage sales. We lived in New Jersey. And we would go around and buy other people's junk for $1. And that was the shoes I wore and the clothes I wore and the toys I played with. And we were joking about, while the kids were getting their Nintendo, I was getting the Atari, right? So I when I had an opportunity, I started working when I was 13, but like I was shoveling driveways in New Jersey when I was 9 years old. And I'd go out there and you could get $5, $10, $20 a driveway. And when you're 9 years old, man, that's big money.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So that's the entrepreneur inside.
Well,
even as a kid.
Yeah, as a kid, I thought because you'll see a lot of that. People ask me all the time, they're like, how come all these success stories, it seems like they have this really, I came from this and woe is me and I had this big turnaround. I believe because when you come from that scarcity, it creates a hunger inside you a fire inside you that can't be put out. Because you know what it's like. Right? And I'm not saying people that come from successful backgrounds can't be successful because your father was successful.
That's true.
Here's a story. You weren't living on someone's couch. I'm sure you had obstacles and struggles, but you had that. I'd like to know where that hunger came from you because I understand where that hunger comes from. When you're down and out and you're at points where I was bouncing from one couch to another couch and literally going to the grocery store, right? Literally going to the grocery store, pretending to shop so I could eat a meal. Like I wish they had like Sam's Club and Costco. I don't like going to the grocery store still to this day because it gives bring bad memories, right? Because I used to if you ever go to the grocery store and you have like a cart that's like sitting in the aisle and it's fully packed and no one's there, like no one's manning the cart. You're like, I wonder whose cart that was. Probably mine. Because I'd be pushing it around the grocery store and grabbing a banana and grabbing a granola bar and grabbing a bagel or the donut thing out and go into the office, So, when you have, Sam's Club now, Whole Foods, I mean, my gosh, all the
giving
salad
away
bars, it'd be free, dude. Just walking in there, all this, hey, would you like to try the Hot Pocket? Heck yeah. How about one of those pretzel bites? I'll take 2, it'd be free. But, at 9 years old, I wanted to have that money. And then, I think my upbringing, because I grew up in a Christian home, I grew up in a church where, it was like, give back, and do good for others is like I take. And I'm not saying this for anyone to be like, oh, you're so impressive. At night we didn't get to go out to eat. Like our family vacation was driving from New Jersey to Pittsburgh, Ohio, which is not Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is this tiny little town with one traffic light and a little corner store. It was actually kind of cool, and I don't know why, but it had a metal slide, and so it was 100 degrees in August. I mean, that was always fun trying to go down the metal slide. I think they changed that now. I haven't been on a slide lately. And that was our vacations, or we get to go to the shore once in a while, and it was a big deal to eat out at McDonald's. It was a big deal. If we had a steak, there was a T-bone steak in a family of 6. And it was chopped up and, shared amongst all of us. And that was like a big deal. So I go out and make this money. And then after church, I take my family out to Red Lobster. And it was just like that, feeling of like, wow, that's awesome. So from a young age, I was able to have that feeling of like, I can go out and work and do it because I know the end result's an impact.
Right.
So I wasn't doing it because I wanted to make $100 at 9 years old.
Sure. As
I went through driveway to driveway, and your back's hurting, your hands are freezing, you're cold. My mom would even come pick me up and drive me to the next house. She'd follow me as I went down and knock on the doors until someone said yes, and I'd be like, "All right, Mom," and she'd drive home. and so at a young age, that was kind of instilled in me through just the situation I came from and the upbringing and different things.
And that was back when you were 9. How old are you currently?
Why do you ask these questions, right? I don't know. How do I look? I honestly lost count.
39.
I was born in 75. I think I'm 44. March 1975. I think I'm ready to turn 45. Maybe I'm 45.
Maybe 45. What March?
I can't do math. March 25th.
Okay, good, dude.
Here we go. It's coming up, right?
Wish him a happy birthday on March 25th. It's coming up quick. Coming up soon.
Don't do that, please, because I always say, don't wish me happy birthday.
Dude, if you tell them not to do it, they're gonna do it.
No, because I'm not gonna wish you one. Then I feel bad. No, seriously,
That's
I
right.
tell people that. Like,
That's
I don't want to try.
That's not their fault that you don't wish them happy birthday.
I don't try to remember everyone's birthday.
Okay, so you were 9. What was 15-year-old Nate like?
Oh boy, man,
high school.
Taking me back. I was not the cool kid in high school. I was very insecure.
That's hard to imagine. That's hard to you know what I mean? Almost 45, confident. Little, you got some swag. You make good money. Awesome wife, great house, sick car.
I have a phenomenal wife.
No doubt.
Beautiful wife, phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Her heart of gold. I mean, I love my wife Laura. Just amazing woman. I mean,
it's kind of crazy how sometimes that reverses. Where the senior that everyone thinks is the greatest dude in the world, when he's 44, he's sleeping on his mom's couch,
right.
And you're like supposedly not cool in high school, and now you're like the dude that everybody wants to hang out with at 8% Nation.
I was way not cool. Probably mostly
it's weird how that works though.
Yeah, and I was insecure, and I got picked on a lot. I had
for what?
I was the young kid playing sports, right? So the upperclassmen, would be picked on a lot. We go to these soccer camps, and I guess they call it hazing, but back then it was fun to come by and give you a wedgie at lunch, or wake up and there's baby powder, 5 gallons of baby powder through your whole entire room, which I found out now could have killed me, but and getting stuffed in lockers and put in trash cans, and by the upperclassmen get made fun of, and I'm sure a lot of people. Were like that, but I wouldn't have this miserable high school years. But people go, man, don't you wish the great old days of high school? You wish you'd go back? I would never want to go back. I just didn't have that confidence, and I just was very insecure. I cared what everyone thought, and what clothes I wore, because I didn't have all the nice stuff. Because my dad worked for Mission Board, so he was able to get discounted tuition, so we went to Christian school. But most of the other kids that went to the private school, had money. So here you are in an environment where everyone's got money. They got the latest Nikes, the latest, Reeboks or whatever was popular, the Z Cavaricis with the little white Z Cavarici on it. You don't know what those are. Don't say,
I definitely
what?
don't.
Z Cavaricis. So you guys know. Back in the day, like Saved by the Bell, where we're rolling our bottom pants, and rolling them up.
Okay.
And
this was in New Jersey?
This was in New Jersey, yeah, in Cherry Hill.
You been back to any reunions?
I have not, actually. I missed the last one.
You graduated from there, though?
I did graduate from high school.
Okay.
Thanks for your confidence, but yes, I did make it past. Not college, but I made it past high school.
Okay.
I have not gone back yet. No, I just
interesting.
And it was funny because when I was broke, and it was one of my biggest motivators. My mentor always talked about having an action motivator. It's like it's good to have a why, but what's an action motivator? What's going to get you out of bed in the morning that you don't want to give up and you don't want to stop and you want to do it whatever it takes at cost. And I would go through these trainings, and one of my action motivators was to go back to that high school reunion, pull up with a beautiful, sexy wife, have a Lamborghini or his $200,000-$300,000 car
Or
with a
McLaren.
$20,000 or McLaren, right? $20,000, Rolex on my arm. Walking around with pictures of a mansion I lived in, and it was a driving force. And I'll never forget. My mentor said, "Look at that action motivator, and it's going to motivate you. But I'm going to tell you something that's going to surprise all of you. When you actually achieve success, you won't even care anymore."
Mm.
And I was like, "There's no way, man."
True.
And I had like 3 or 4 action
You don't
motivators.
even care to go back. You could care less. Also,
ex-girlfriend, like I'd pull right in her driveway. She said I wasn't good enough. Her parents, because I was, thought I had my love of my life at 21 years old, and I remember we broke up, and her parents kept saying he's not good enough. He can barely afford to support himself. He's not going anywhere in life. And I remember I had that action motivator, man. I wanted to say, I'm gonna pull up in my nice car, and when I'm making money one day, I'm gonna pull right to her parents and say, "Hey, how you guys doing? Remember me?" And he was right though. When you finally started, I'll tell you what it is. Now, if I didn't grow, I probably would have done it. But when I reached the level of the financial success that I thought where I was going for, because I was growing along with it, that no longer had a
what
bearing on it.
When
It didn't even matter.
What was the number for you? Like everyone grows up, say your early 20s, and you're like, all right, I want to be successful. I know mid 20s you start getting into like network marketing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. What was the number for you? Because I remember for me, I've never shared this, about 4 years ago, I thought, even 5 years ago maybe, I was like, man, if I can just get all this that we're doing now to just $5,000 a week, oh man, everything will be great.
Well, you had bigger visions than I did. Mine was $10,000 a month.
Okay.
I mean, I thought, of course, I'm older than now.
Now you've made that. Now you've made that in a day, a bunch.
He loves to go here with me. I don't know why he loves to go here with me.
Dude, everybody likes talking money, man.
$10,000 a month. Like I thought, when I make $10,000 a month,
it's over.
I'm gonna have a house with pillars, circle driveway. I write a driver driving me around. I was gonna have
half of that.
My own limousine. I know, but that was my vision of $10,000 a month. I mean, I never forget.
We all go through that.
I never forget the first time I made $10,000 a month, and I'm like, there's $10,000 a month. This is like none.
No money.
I can barely afford to live. Like maybe it's $50,000 a month, right? Maybe it's 100. So that obviously changed. But again, growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. I mean, 6 figures now. I was reading something in an article. I think it was in Forbes or Inc. 5000 or some business journal online. Yeah. And they were saying, $100,000 a year back when was a big deal.
Yeah.
But
like
also
what year? Like 90s or something?
Yeah, like in the 1980s. 1980s and 1990s, $100,000 a year was a big deal.
Yeah.
But back in the 1990s and 1980s, you could buy something for a third of the cost. They said today, right now in 2020, in order to make $100,000, this equivalent to $100,000 a year, you'd have to make $370,000 a year.
Wow.
So like that $100,000 mark that we were all pushing for, like if I could make $10,000 a month, which is really $8,333 a month.
That's what I pushed for.
The mathematicians that are out there.
Yeah.
But $10,000 a month, now it's more like you got to make $30,000 a month.
Wow.
To be at that same level based upon what used to cost then, a gallon of gas to what it costs now, a loaf of bread to what it costs now, whatever you want to, look back and see what was that lifestyle buying you versus what's buying you now.
Okay, so let's fast forward to 20s. You talked about being 21, getting rejected, all that. Take us through your 20s when you start trying to find success, you start working, you start trying to make money. I know that.
Keyword there is trying, yes. I tried.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you struggled a little bit.
I struggled tremendously.
It's insane. I wouldn't imagine someone like you, like super talented, uber talented, struggled.
Well, if I was half of what you have at your age, I'd be a billionaire right now. I'm not saying that. I mean, like the who you are as a person, and you've had a lot of. I'm gonna do an interview. How many of you guys want me to do an interview on Cody? Yes. I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna call out. If you want me in the comment section, you would have dropped. I'll come make another special trip out here. We're gonna switch seats, and we're gonna put Cody Askins on the hot seat, and we're going to have you. I think there's a lot of people that are out there.
We could do it in the morning.
You're always interviewing. Oh, maybe I'll do it in the morning. Let's see how many comments we get, right?
Dude, people would eat that up, though.
Well,
I would personally, just because I know how good of an interviewer you are.
Oh, yeah.
And how good you are with questions and getting stuff out of people. It'd almost be scary. Maybe I don't want it.
Maybe you don't want to do it. I'll have some good questions for you. But you're an impressive guy.
Thanks, buddy.
And I want to know what made you that impressive, because my son's 13, and if I can have the same influence your father or your upbringing or the people around you to put you in the situation you're at with my 13-year-old boy, I mean, that would be priceless. Because, there's no manual on how to be a dad. He has a total personality like you, where everyone loves him. Instantly, like, your son's so great. He's such a sweet guy. He's such a nice guy. He's good looking like you. And so if I can go, okay, how? And you're not. We're very alike, but we're polar opposites in our personality. And so this type A, to my son, it's kind of like, So I would love to do that interview just for me, whether we have the cameras rolling or not, because I would love to say how can I be a better father?
Yeah.
How can I learn from the situations who made you who you are, and to help my son get to that level? Because my son listens to 15 minutes of personal growth every day.
Wow.
What
do you have him listen to?
He's listened to audiobooks. He's listened to Think and Grow Rich twice.
Good.
He's listened to How to Win Friends, Influence People.
You think those books should be taught in school?
Don't get me started here. We'll be on the next hour. The answer is absolutely yes.
Okay.
We talked about that earlier in our podcast.
Yeah,
today.
we did.
He's listened to Mindset by Carol Dweck. He's listened to the training we do in terms of personalities types, where my mentor taught me, how you can meet someone within 30 seconds to a minute and identify their personality, not to find their inner child or who they are, or the DISC or the ENTP or the there's 4 basic personality types that everyone knows, right? But how powerful would it be to be able to identify the main one and the sub main one within less than 3 minutes, and to be able to deliver information to them in a way that they want to receive it.
That's something you talk a lot about.
I talk a lot about because it was a pivotal point in my life. My son studied that. I put him in front of a room of hundreds of people, and I showed him a picture, said 2 or 3 key phrases, and 100% right. Boom, boom, boom. So now I got him on Caleb Maddox. I love that kid because he's a kid training a kid. My company SWAT, Strategic Wealth Accumulation Tactics, or SWAT Financial, it had a double meaning. It was students with advanced training. So how would I like to be a SWAT kid? So my goal was, okay, maybe I shouldn't say it. Someone's going to steal my idea. But you go to all these events. They get steal.
It'll stay private. Nobody will steal anything.
Yeah. But you go to all these events, right? Whether it be Tony Robbins, an Herbalife event, whether you go into 8% Nation, whether you come to whatever company that you're in, whether it be Symmetry, or if you're in a Family First or Equus or any of these companies that are out there, and they have all these adults, and all the adults are going to a room to learn about leadership skills and how to be a better person and how to strive. And where are all the kids? At home. What if you had a section where, hey, you can bring all your kids to 8% Nation, but oh, by the way, in the wing next door, we're doing a leadership program for your kids. Students with advanced training. What if the kids were learning about growth mindset versus fixed mindset? What if you had a Caleb Maddox or any of these other influencers, these kids who went through, who were inspiring and teaching that language of success to your kid? I mean, I get goosebumps.
That's good, dude.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't. Can
you imagine that family unit when you're coming out? Because Caleb talked about it. So I started watching a little bit of Caleb, and he has a thing called Apex for Kids. All right, Caleb, just like there's 1,000 people watching us, right? You said so that we want $1 per sign up. No,
there you go.
I don't know how that works.
Affiliate.
But Apex for Kids, and I have him on there every day, 15 minutes.
Wow.
And he's walking through why. I mean, one day he wakes up in the morning, and you know how kids are, right? Go in there, and I'm like, "Did you stay here last night?" Because he's my stepson, so he goes back and forth with me and his father. And he goes, "Yeah, why?" I said, "Well, your bed's made," which you usually have to tell him. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, well, Caleb said I need to make my bed every morning. I'm like, dude, it's awesome.
Wow.
We're sitting down at a burger joint one day. It was when he was like 10 or maybe 11, and he's got his iPad out there, and he looks at me and his mom, and he goes, "I don't mean to have a fixed mindset, but I'm just not that good at math." I'm like, what 11-year-old kid even knows what a fixed mindset is?
Wow.
Like, he knew not only what it was, but he was having one, saying, I don't mean to have a fixed mindset.
That's impressive enough.
Right. And then so we started talking about how to program the subconscious mind, and kind of went there. So to your one point, the school system is so antiquated on what they're teaching. They can find this stuff online. It's like it makes me ill and sick to my stomach that we pay millions of dollars to athletes who can catch a ball and run in 4 seconds a certain distance on a field, and we can barely pay our teachers who have our children 8 hours a day enough to even survive. I mean, it's just, I'm waiting for a Jerry Jones to come in and buy a school. Can you imagine? Can you imagine recruiting for school? You have tryouts and interviews and vetting. Could you imagine like what kind of schools, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, but no, it's just like, here you go. We'll pay you just enough and promise you a pension that one day when you retire, you can barely live on that as well. And I just think they're failing. I mean, the schools are failing. So someone needs to step in, or a group of people need to step in and start teaching our kids what really matters in life with those principles.
Which is no doubts on your McLaren license plate, by the way.
You have to always throw it in.
Back when
it does say no doubt.
It does.
It says no doubt.
Leave no doubt, bro.
Leave no doubt. That's what it says on the back of my sweatshirt.
When you were
no doubt.
When you were in your 20s, you didn't think like this.
Oh, absolutely. I went through the same school system you went through, Cody, and unless you went to a different school, I spent 14,000 hours from kindergarten to the 12th grade learning math, science, English, history over and over and over again. And then I thought, well, maybe when I get to high school, then, and I remember my mentor talked about this, right? I thought high school, like, maybe it's better. Well, no, math became algebra.
Yeah.
Science became biology and chemistry. History became social studies. And I thought, well, maybe when I get to college, that's where I'm going to learn the keys to success. And it was the same stuff, just harder. So 14,000 hours from kindergarten to the 12th grade, where most of my life I was spent. I know you find it hard to believe, but I was kind of the black sheep of the family. Well, I was the black sheep of the family, and kind of a little bit of a ruckus in the school, because I have a blessing and a curse at the same time. I can hear something and literally pretty much memorize 80% of it the first time I hear it or read it. The problem is if I don't use it, I completely forget it. So the problem is a blessing versus a curse, because I can hear someone do a seminar or a training, and I can literally almost sit down and do the training right back to you 80%. But if I don't use it or write it down or constantly integrate it into my daily activity, I forget it a week from then. So here I am in school. So think about it, right? Hyperactive, tons of energy. I always had this much energy. I always was a bundle of energy, right? I just didn't have the confidence because I was beat down my whole life from my school teachers, everyone else. Like, why do you do this? And who do you think you are? You're not going to amount to anything. And I remember one time my Bible teacher came into the class. He walks in. I mean, think about the humiliation, right? It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. He walked into my room, picked up picked up the desk, and said, I'm not mad at you. You're not in trouble, but I just can't handle you today. And put me on my desk outside of the room. Yeah. And so I can memorize. So in in grade school and stuff, it was good. It was easy. I memorized verse, memorized it. It was all about, school is all about how well you can memorize.
Totally.
Here's information. If you can regurgitate this, you're smart. Which I think most of us realize when you get out of school, that ain't the case.
Yeah.
Right. So I did well in grade school and high school because I could memorize most of the stuff.
Right.
But then in college is a different story.
do you think spelling and math are the two things in school that relate to business the most?
I don't know why you put me on the spot on that one. No, because you can buy Grammarly for I think $19.99 a month that spells for you, make sure your things are done, and you can use a calculator. That's true. You could. That's not the answer you wanted. I personally don't think spelling and math relate.
That's two things from school that you know what I mean. I feel like it benefited me personally in business. I'm great with numbers, and I can spell.
Well, I think math definitely is important, but I don't think knowing what an isosceles triangle has helped you in business.
No.
Or what a dangling participle is, right?
No.
You don't even know what that is.
No,
right?
I have no idea.
So to a degree, yes. So
yeah,
I guess,
yeah.
I think that our kids obviously should be educated, but it comes to a certain point, like why not let them go towards the things that they are attracted to, right? But again, we could waste a lot of time on that. So I got kicked out of college twice, and I talked a little about this with you, Landon, already, but I got drugged down to a meeting with a bunch of people into it from a friend of mine.
Yep.
And we were sitting there, and it was a network marketing company, and I didn't know what network marketing was. Right? I was like, all I knew was there was a bunch of people that were excited, they were happy. Yep. They were talking about saving the planet and cleaning up the environment. And I'm 20 years old. back then I smoked a cigarette before I got into the things. I'm like, the environment, like I need to go have a cigarette. But I was stuck in the middle, so I couldn't get out. I'll never forget they wheeled in this cart with a VCR. So no, I know. You guys know what those are still? VCR? Barely? My son didn't know.
My favorite Larry Bird documentary was a VHS.
Okay, my son goes, "What's a VCR?"
When I was growing up.
I don't watch a lot of YouTube, but someone sent me a video. I think the funniest video that I saw was when the parents told their kids, I think they pay them $20 or $100 if they could dial this phone number from this phone. And they took a rotary phone and you gotta watch it. It's hilarious, right? Someone said it to me and I was just crying, laughing. And they had this rotary phone where they had to dial the number and they're like taking it off, putting it on. It's a good watch. You gotta watch it.
Funny.
It is funny. And they couldn't do it, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't do it. And they wheeled this TV in. It was color, right? But it had a VCR tape and they popped it on. And there was person after person after person. I used to be a preschool teacher and I made millions of dollars. I used to be a pot and pan door salesman. I made millions of dollars. I used to be a social worker and I had success and made millions of dollars. And here's my lifestyle. And they're showing their homes and they're showing their, it was back in the 90s, where wealth was cool. Right? Back in the 90s, wealth was cool, right? It was cool to have, wealth, right? And so the gentleman who eventually became my mentor came out and he was leaning against this, car must have cost $500,000. I mean, it was like some type of a Bentley, convertible, prestige massage. Obviously, I had no idea what it was. It was just like, wow. And he stood there and he goes, where are you going to be in the next 5 years if you keep doing what you've been doing? And where can you be in the next 5 years if you follow the man that built the path, that built the track to follow, who's taken other people down that track, and they wound up immensely successful? Where could you be if you just did what they did? And I went, first time in my life. Basically, say I can cheat to success.
Yeah.
Because in college, I did a little bit of cheating in high school.
Sure.
Not proud of it. I think we all cheated. And if you guys don't admit to it, you're a liar and a cheater, right?
I'm sure I did.
But you sit next to the person in class that gets a good grade, then there's really no shock and wonder why your grade's the same or very eerily similar if you purposely missed one so it didn't look like you were copying. And a light bulb went in my head. I said, man, I want to work with that guy. I want to have an opportunity to be coach and mentor. He was just so captivating, and it helped so many people go from nowhere to somewhere. And that was my beginning of my mission to seek out success and be an entrepreneur.
How old were you?
And I sucked at it. I was 20.
How much money did you make?
How much money did I make or how much money did I lose?
Well, walk us through the next few years then.
Oh boy, man, I went broke fast. I had a lot of growing to do. I had I wasn't me, Yeah. So, but that going through that process from going to the different trainings and being in a training environment and how I learned to speak was because we'd have these presentations where people would come in and we run an ad to come in and be in an environment where, you had 8 to 9, 10 people and you'd be up there and you'd be pitching the company. Right. And it was funny because now they have everything online. You got landing pages. Like people don't even understand, I guess, really that what that did for me.
Yeah.
Because you're there. We had, a presentation every day at 1:00, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 7:30, and every Saturday we had a presentation and a Saturday training. So when you were full time, you're in the office, you're running ads, and you're answering phone calls, and you're putting bodies in a chair, and you're doing a presentation. And I didn't start right away. I never forget where, I was sitting there, and you're raising your hand, you're smiling, you're hearing the same jokes from the same guy every day. Imagine 8 times a week, right? But you're still having to be up there and intense and excited about what's going on. And I remember one time, and then you think you got it, right? It's the same thing as success. You think, oh, I got this. How hard can this be, right?
Exactly.
And you start having these self-talk, like, oh, God, can you not come and think of another joke? This is so simple. Can't wait till I can get up there and do it. And then I'll never forget the guy was sick that day. And one of the managers of the office came in and said, you're up. I said, I'm up where? He's like, you're doing the presentation today. What? And I never spoke in front of people doing it. He's like, you're doing the presentation today. Right, and there's 8 people. Oh my God, it was awful. I mean, I got up there, like one of those dry erase markers. Yeah. Right, so I'm sitting there clicking it. You watch someone click. I'm sitting there trying to click, put the cap coat on, and I'm walking up, and I'm like, so how's everyone doing? And if you ever go and hear a speaker say, how's everyone doing, it means he's not doing so good. You know what I'm saying? How's everyone doing? And that means he's not doing so good. And so I'm like going through this presentation. I'll never forget, I'm in Dayton, Ohio, because my school was I went to Cedarville University or Cedarville College back then. I think it's a university now because they got a couple more students. They were big enough at their university. And Dayton was the closest office, like 30, 40 minutes away from my college campus, and where I had an apartment that I was sleeping on my friend's couch in the apartment. And I'm just like trying to go through the presentation, and they're sitting there rolling their eyes, and I'm trying to convince them how they can become successful, marketing, water filtration, air filtration, everything else. And I'm sweating. I hijacked his office, thank God, because I run hot. I don't know why. So I have it down like 60 degrees in here, so I'm not sweating. But normally I'm just like pouring sweat, right? So back then it was a suit and tie. I'm pouring sweat, and I'm trying to talk to him and stuff like that. And I'm writing on the board, and I'm erasing the board, and I'm sweating, and I'm writing on the board, the dry erase board, and I'm erasing the board, and I'm sweating, right? And all of a sudden people start kind of chuckling, and they start laughing. I'm like going, yeah, and I'm telling more jokes, and I'm a natural, man. I'm a natural, right? And they're laughing, and they're doing that. I'm like, yeah, I got this, man. It's Nate. And finally, one lady she raised her hand. She goes, "Excuse me, sir, you have marker all over your face." Cody, I was humiliated. I went to the bathroom, right? And I thought there'd be like a little smudge. Man, it looked like I was doing Braveheart, man. I had green down the center, black, because as I was wiping the board, I was sweating. I was just wiping my face. I swore I would never do that presentation again. I was like going, I was just humiliated. And when you get to that point, when all those things flash back from your childhood, like your humiliation and what you went through and how all that self-confidence thing. And so it was such a up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And have a little bit of success, and then you lose success, and have a little bit of success, and you lose success. And when I failed, and it was so hard because I was in an environment where other people were succeeding. Mm-hmm. And that's the worst.
Yeah, makes it tough.
It's bad when you fail, but when you're in an environment, you're watching other people win around you, and you're not winning, that really takes a toll on you.
Yeah. And
when I had an opportunity to finally connect with my mentor, I'll never forget it. I accidentally won a contest, which I don't want to go into details, but I accidentally won a contest by default. And the other person, I guess, couldn't make it to his house, and he had a event where it was 2 days with him, right? And I can never, when you have a chance to hang around somebody who is at the top of your field, and you paid access for Grant Cardone. That's right. Somebody go, that's crazy. You spent 25. Oh, I shouldn't tell you how much he spent, but
that's fine.
Spent 25 grand for a mastermind with Grant Cardone. Oh, I can watch his video. You would spend 50. Like what?
Yeah.
It's invaluable.
Yeah.
To be in a room, right? A room.
That's
with that,
so true.
right? Or whoever it is that you do.
I wouldn't have understood that 5-10 years ago either, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if they don't, it's okay. It's like I didn't either.
Right. And so I had this opportunity to hang out with them, right? And I was like, oh, this is my chance. I mean, this is the guy, the mentor I wanted to work with, The only time else I met him, actually the first time I met him, was embarrassing because like he would do these seminars and there would be 13,000 people showing up at the MGM Grand Theater, or there'd be 3,000 people, at a regional event that he'd be at, or 12,000 people. And people would try to shake his hand and line up for, hours to shake his hand. And I can never forget, it was at a regional training and I was using the restroom, and he walks in the bathroom. And he's standing in the urinal next to me. I was like, I'm not going to have a conversation. That'll be weird. But I'm waiting for my turn, right? As soon as he turns around, right? And I remember, I'm hoping he forgets this, but we turned and I said, so-and-so, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Nate Auffort. And he looks at me. You might want to wash your hands first. And he walked right over to the sink, washed his hands, and walked out of the room. I was like,
oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Like, really? There's my chance. There's my chance. And that's how I presented myself. So I'm like, that was I'm sure he forgot, doesn't even think about it or know.
Probably.
But I had a chance to go to his house. And this is where my life really started to change because, all these other people were kind of scared and nervous and intimidated. And I'm like going, I don't care what he thinks about me. I'm going to ask him his main question. And I would corner him. I'm like, so what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And what about that? And he'd get up and move and go over to the pool table. And I'd follow him to the pool table. And what about this? And what about that? And he'd go over to the ping pong table. And I was probably I know I was the most annoying person there. But I had this guy who's making $1 million a week. My mentor was making $1 million a week net. He had his face on the front cover of Inc. magazine with 35,000% growth in a company in 5 years. He created from scratch before the internet, using VHS tapes, before having the ability to have massive social media, none of that. 1.8 million people he recruited in a 5-year period of time, and was 35,000% growth in 5 years. $1 million after his $20 million mega yacht, after his 7 Lamborghinis and 9 Ferraris and his Vector painted like the, what is it, the American flag on it with the Statue of Liberty, and the car that had a bullet hole through the steering. Elvis Presley's car that had a bullet hole through the steering wheel he shot through, and his 52 car exotic car collection, and homes all over the country, and a $250,000 watch on his arm cost more than most people's house. And I know today that's offensive, right? That's back when it was cool, right? Now they want you to make $10 million, give it all away, and drive a Prius. I get it.
Yeah.
You got to hide your stuff now, or else they think, oh, who's that awful evil person with nice stuff? Which I don't get, but things have changed.
I'm with you.
So here I am at his house in Summerlin, Vegas, right? I mean, I walk in the door, I look up, and there's probably $180,000 Harley Davidson collector edition as a ornament above his door as art. I mean, who do you know that has $160,000 Harley Davidson like collector edition poised above his door, right? You know what I'm saying? And like these marble crystals everywhere. And I mean, I just never, I shared a bathroom with 3 of my sisters, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So I mean, I was like, I just never been in there. And I'll never forget, because the second day, and he's like, I came into the boardroom, because they had a boardroom at the office, and I was dressed up in my nice suit I bought at Sears. Because it's the only place that would extend credit for me to have a suit was Sears, because I ruined all my other credit. I do some creative financing. Because back then, like Sears and other places, they give you credit cards. So we'd get the credit cards at like Sears. I can't remember the other store that would give us one. I shouldn't say this. Maybe Sears might come after me. But anyway, we'd go buy a whole bunch of stuff, like lawnmowers and everything else, and we go back and turn them back in because they would give you cash. So I get a line of credit at Sears or the different places, JCPenney's, and we'd buy a bunch of stuff, and then we'd turn it back in, and we get cash, and that's how we were able to eat, and we were able to run ads and do our things that we did. There was some creative financing. Definitely some creative financing. And I had my suit on, and I forgot my shoes. So, not only was I probably the most annoying person he's ever dealt with in his life, there I am walking with my suit and my flip-flops, and he looks at it, he goes, nice shoes. I was like, because this guy was like a celebrity, right, in the ring. And he goes, does anyone else have any questions? He goes, hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. Does anyone else have any questions besides Nate?
He said that?
He said that. And then he was done. I didn't care. I said, can I have your pager number? I think he had the first cell phone that looked like, one you plug in your car, your battery you carry around, and another one that looked like, that. And he gave me his pager number. And that was the day my life changed. Because when I had an opportunity to go to the source, his favorite thing was, he talked a lot about whisper down lane information. Like if someone has 100% of the information, they teach somebody and they teach somebody and they teach somebody, that information gets watered down. You ever play whisper like when you're a little kid? And I was at the source. I wasn't getting 97% of the wrong information anymore. I was at the source. And he used to say, who taught you that, kid? Who taught you that? Well, I learned it at a training, or I learned that from so-and-so in the training source. He goes, that's not how you do it. Let me show you how to do it. He boom, boom, knock it out. He goes, what else you got? And I go, well, when I'm done this and I say that, he goes, who taught you that? He was real aggressive like that, right? Yeah. I'm like going, he's like, I want to know. Tell me who it was. Who it was? I got to fix that. Who told you that? And I'm like, so-and-so. They probably hate me. He's like, no, kid, that's not what you do. And he started to mentor me. He started to teach me. And I never made over $3,000 in a month ever. And I was in the company for 3 years. 3 years. I worked with him for less than 90 days, and I was making over $20,000 a month. 90 days.
Wow.
I went from barely doing enough volume to rent a desk in an office space because we had a shared training center, to where I opened up 4 of my own offices in 5 months.
But you shouldn't have a mentor nowadays. You don't need one.
Sure, I guess. And he taught me key principles about, you can't get excited about the highs and you can't get depressed about the lows. He taught me that making mistakes, you talk about the school system, it's minus this and minus that, and minus this and minus that, and minus this and minus that. I mean, are you not programmed that when you make a mistake, it takes away from?
Yeah.
And so you get involved in business, and the only way to have success is to go out there and make mistakes.
You got to make a bunch.
Because, and that's what he said to me. He goes, if I told you it took 10,000 mistakes, you had to make 10,000 mistakes before you can make 10,000 a month, how fast would you do it, kid? I'd do it right away. So we'll get busy then. And he talked about my attitude, right? He's like, the key to having that success is people are always riding that roller coaster up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. He said, successful people have a consistent attitude even when they're failing. And Marlin Faulkner, and it gives me the chills because that changed my life, and I shared that with Marlin. And Marlin was what makes him different, which you asked that question. I always come back. I remember these things. I sometimes take a little bit of a detour.
I'm with you.
I'm on Waze instead of Apple. Is that what it's called? Waze?
Yeah.
Is that Marlin was able to have an attitude, positive attitude, and attitude of success, even while he was failing. We do a thing called Marlin, the Untold story. And when you watch it,
it's good.
I would love to do that sometime. For any insurance agent, if you watch Marlin, the Untold story, and you saw where he came from, and you heard his story, and you watched what he went through, everyone would love him 100 times more than they already love him, because that guy persevered through some of the toughest crap that I've ever seen someone persevere through. And so learning those lessons, I'll never forget he he did a lot of these things to me, but it changed who I was. And we were sitting in his office, and he took out a piece of paper and he drew on the piece of paper, and he said, I don't want to put my fingers on here, right? He's like, down here's poverty, and he drew a little circle. Here's poverty, right? And he goes, and here's average. And he drew a circle in the middle of the paper. And he goes, show me where wealth is. And he hands me the pencil. I was like, dude, I got this one. This is obvious. Because he always asked his questions that seemed obvious, and you never get the answer right, and then you realize how stupid you really were. I'm like, I got this one. He's in trouble this time. And I grab that pencil, right? And I go, it's easy. Top. Right on the top. Right? Is that what you would put?
Totally.
Is that what you guys put?
Totally.
He goes, that's your problem, kid. How can you get wealthy if you don't even know where it's at? And he goes, and that's what everyone else thinks. The good news is, it's right here. And he took his pencil and he drew it that far above the dot. And he goes, that's wealth. It's just doing a little bit more than the average person does. It's making an extra phone call the average person won't. It's showing up when the average person won't. It's just doing this much more. You can create wealth, he said, because most people are doing just enough to get by. And that was the first time in my life I thought I can really get wealthy.
Wow.
Because you think you have to be that much better.
Yeah.
That much better looking, that much better in speaking, that much better, that much smarter. And that was a pivotal point in my life where I just went, wow, like I just have to be this much better. I just got to get up 1 hour earlier, not 6. Right? I just got to stay at the office 1 hour later. I got to be able to recruit one more person than that person and just do it just a little bit more than the average, and I can have wealth.
What was the turning point for you from 3K? I know it was over 90 days. The mentor was a big help. And I want to fast forward through marketing and get to the insurance here pretty soon too. But what was the turning point for you from 3K a month to 20K a month, 90 days later? Like literally 7x income in 3 months.
What was the things I learned from my mentor? Which I can't sit here and talk about all of the whole entire thing, but if you broke it down, it was the attitude, skills, and the mentality of it. Really,
wow.
One of the reason I talk about so much about that personality thing is that's one of the things that he taught me. I mean, for me, it's invaluable. I mean, I get it. You go and I can't go to a networking event and hand someone 4 cards from the disc profile and say, arrange them in the order that you think they should be arranged in, and I can tell you how I can. That's weird. I can't go to someone I meet and go, hey, will you take this test so I can know if you're an ENTP or an ESTJ or an S, I took the class 2 times. They still couldn't figure out what I was.
Yeah.
Like, are you a P or are you a T or an S? Or like, I was like, I spent an intensive, like an 8-hour day one day and an 8-hour day another way. So if I couldn't figure out in a class going 16 hours what exactly my 4 quadrant numbers are, how the heck are you going to meet someone on the street and figure out that personality? And it's not like I had this deep dive where it's okay, I can figure out how you want to have information delivered to you.
Yeah.
In that way, you can receive it in the most receptive way. How powerful is that in terms of selling?
Yep.
How powerful is that in terms of recruiting?
Yep.
How powerful is that in terms of a relationship. When I went through and really got that, when people go through that it's like 2 hours. You can teach it in 2 hours. 2 hours you can teach it. Jeez. They go through that and they're like, my marriage is better. I raise my kids differently, because you can immediately just go, that's how they respond, right? And it's not something that's new.
Yep.
It's something that he was able to teach in a manner of fact to where you didn't have to sit down and give someone a test or have them arrange cards to figure that out. So that was huge.
But by knowing those, we run our whole company differently.
Yeah.
Once someone like let me in on that, and I started diving in and doing it myself, and realizing that my engineers receive information differently, and that my engineers, don't want to be touched, but I'm touching them all the time because I'm, you know what I mean? Like little stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
That stuff matters,
Right. It
but
does.
but that was something that I didn't even know till probably like last year, and it's crazy.
And there's deep dives, and I'm not saying that. I mean,
Yeah.
a disc is great; it's a deep dive, and
Sure.
And, the Myers-Briggs is a deep dive, or the 5 Voices for Leadership. I read that book; it's a deep dive. So learning that stuff was huge,
Yep.
and being able to do it on the fly, like instantly, and then be able to, you can take all that other stuff later on to get a real deep dive and give assessments and stuff. That's major, especially today. Because we live in a society where everyone has a voice, everyone has an opinion, everyone feels like that opinion should matter. In reality, if it does or doesn't, we'll just stop there on social media.
Right.
It's giving everyone a platform to be an expert on something they're not an expert on. And they feel that they can voice an opinion, and then they get upset if someone else doesn't agree with their opinion. Okay? I always said I'm not going to have a 300-pound fat person teach me how to lose weight. Just like I'm not going to have you tell me how to dunk a basketball. Or can you dunk?
You used to be able to.
Okay, well, maybe I would then. See, I know you're good at basketball, but I was going to say, I dunk a basketball, or I'm not going to ask somebody who, whatever. Right?
There's one question that I've been wanting to ask.
So this is the this is the question you had that you wanted to ask. This one question that you wanted to
there's
say.
one thing.
Get ready for it.
Well, dude, when you look at like what you've accomplished in the industry and how fast you did it, the money you're making now and only being in insurance for like 5 or 6 years is insane.
It's absurd. It's overwhelming sometimes to think that you could do that in 6 years. It is.
It is, but that's not the question.
Right.
The question is, how did you jump into insurance with no insurance experience? And some people think it's more about the insurance experience. Obviously, it's not. What was so special about you that you could jump into our industry and pull off $85,000 in premium in your first 6 weeks? Most people don't do that in 6 months, let alone 6 years. Most people are failing. You don't even know how to spell insurance. You still have probably very little product knowledge compared to most people, and you do $85K in 6 weeks.
Well, I'm the dumbest insurance guy I ever meet, I'll tell you right now. I know very little about the insurance industry. And I'm not saying I got my license. I'm licensed to sell it. I understand what a term product is and the difference between that and a whole life. I mean, I get the basics.
Start.
That's a good start. But other than that, I'm probably the dumbest insurance guy you're going to meet. I was talking to your sales team, about that this morning.
Yeah.
I always say I'm a 20-year overnight success. And it was just the foundation I was able to build.
Yeah.
And the understanding of people. And it was so exciting. I got to reconnect with my mentor here recently. And it was, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to force any beliefs on you. But I got a chance to reconnect with him and go have lunch with him. And he lives a mile down from my street. I live here in a gated community, and he lives in the. I'm like in a mini gated community. You've been to the house. That's the mini one compared to in Frisco, where his is right by the Dallas Star, and he lives in Starwood with all the, elite athletes and the big ballers and the money makers, and he's doing phenomenal. And just to reconnect with him, it was like, I left that meeting. We had an hour lunch that we had, and I think it was like 3.5, 4 hours of us talking, and I just like felt another higher level. And I'm like, I got more stuff I want, to get from him and get a chance. And he's so busy. And we went to the country club the next day, and he's the member. I mean, here's my mentor, right? He met when I was broke, and I was, literally jumping from one couch to another friend's couch, and didn't have somewhere to live, and we got my car repoed, and we're going to lunch at the country club. He's the same member of the same country club I'm a member of down the road. And, since you brought it up and you love to talk, I mean, if you go to my Facebook, my McLaren's not there. My house isn't on there. I don't.
No, it's not.
No offense, I don't need people to tell me that I have a beautiful house, a beautiful wife, beautiful car to make myself feel good about myself. Because that was another thing he taught me is don't let your stuff define you. Right? Because I watched him because of some things that happened where he lost a lot of his stuff at one point in his life because of some people that he trained that did some things that they shouldn't have done, and he lost a lot of stuff, and he no big deal. I remember asking him, like, man, like that would crush me. Mm-hmm. It's no big deal. It's just stuff. Never seen a hearse pulling a U-Haul. You can always buy it back, right? You can always buy it back.
That's right.
And you're not going to want it in 8 or 9 years anyway. He's like, you ever go on a good vacation? I'm like, no. He's like, you ever been to like a really nice vacation? At the time I was like, no. Now the insurance industry, they try to outdo each other. We've been to the Ritz-Carlton and Kauai and the Ritz-Carlton and Maui, and we went to the Ritz-Carlton Reserve in Puerto Rico, and been to Ireland and London and Rome and Italy and Estonia and Russia and Finland. I mean, I don't know. I can't count how many vacations we've been on because of this incredible industry and the carriers and what they do to take care of us. Right. But he's like, well, you ever been on a good vacation? I said, no. He's like, you get there, he starts describing his vacation. It seems like, it's like, and then I went on one time where we had a button. You pushed a button. We were at the Ritz-Carlton Reserve in Puerto Rico, and they had a button where you pushed it and your butler would come running wherever you're at. You carried a button around with you. That was cool. Right. I think some people abuse it. I felt bad though. Like, cause I kind of felt bad. Like, I'm like, yeah. I get out of the car and like they're like, "Oh, take this." I'm like, I carry my luggage where I go. Still, I'm the same dude that I waited tables. I'm the same dude that was a college dropout that waited tables. It's like I got my bag. Even you try to grab my bag. I got it. I always feel weird, like
No, but I didn't give it back though.
I know you didn't give it back, but I'm like,
no, dude, I got this.
It's almost weird when you go on these vacations and they just like slobber all over you, right?
Yeah.
But he said, you ever go on a vacation and you have the nicest room and you have a butler taking care of you and you're right on the beach and you're in this room that costs you $5,000 a night. And I'm like, oh, no. He's like, would it be so when you're done that vacation, you get on the airplane, you're going home. Are you like in tears, crying? Oh my gosh, I don't have my thing. Or are you just thinking about all the wonderful things you got to experience? And what are you talking about when you get home? What are you talking about?
Yeah, all the positive.
All the positive stuff.
Yeah.
He goes, that's life, dude. That's life. That's your stuff. It's on rent. You don't have to keep it. And so, like, that was another critical point. I never fell in love. Do I like nice stuff? Of course I like nice stuff.
Yeah,
Do I want to lose my nice stuff? Of course I don't want to lose my nice stuff. But I never really fell in love with it. And when you don't fall in love with your stuff, you have the ability to take risk without worry because you're not in love with your stuff, right? So here I am. I got involved in credit card processing, and I made millions of dollars in credit card processing based on the stuff that I learned from my mentor. And that some things happened where I had to walk away from that. And I had a $20,000 a month lifestyle with a $40,000 a month income I wasn't making anymore. And I was trying to build another business, and I thought, well, maybe the network marketing industry's changed. I tried to get back into that, and I was doing well, but I just wasn't really in love with it again. I was like, I don't want to go back here. And I actually called 2 individuals, Matt and Brad Smith, with the company, and I attempted to recruit them into the company I was doing, and they flipped the script. So here they are, and I'm like going, so what are you guys doing, man? And he's like, you guys see what we're doing. I'm like, what are you doing? Right? And they go, we're selling insurance.
You're like,
mortgage protection.
Yes.
No, it was bad. Like I had a little bit, I worked up in my life where I had 3 assistants. I wasn't married at the time. I was 38 years old. I living the bachelor life with the, home theater room in the basement with a 120-inch screen, projector and flat screens all around. And I'd be, so here I am getting up, starting work at 10 a.m., getting done at 4, all nights and weekends free. Right. Wow. That's what I was used to. Oh yeah, and that's what I used to, making a great income, and you don't have a family. I mean, you're living like a king. Especially I was living in Ohio back then.
What kind of money?
I was making $40,000 a month, $34,000 a month.
This is before insurance.
That was before insurance.
Okay.
Right. So I made millions of dollars in the industry. So they said they're selling mortgage protection. I go, Brad, is life that bad? I was like,
did you say that?
I did say that to him. I'm surprised. Brad's such a nice guy. I'm surprised he wouldn't reach into the phone and be like, screw you. And he
was it over the phone?
Yeah, it was over the phone. I go, is life that bad? And he starts telling me about this, that, and the other. And I'm like, man, I'm just like, that's great. I'm not interested. Right. And so then I said, but I have about 10 guys that I will send your way that aren't going to cut it with what I'm doing. Marlin was one of them. And I sent out a video. You heard his story, the 10 of those guys. I thought of Marlin. I said, okay, I know he's got it in him. Here's a chance. Send him a video. 9 out of 10 came back, and they said, we have an interest. And I'm like, okay. I know how these pyramid deals work, right? Insurance.
You're like, I don't want to jump in after they do.
I said insurance, man. That's a pyramid deal, right? It's the best one. See, insurance is such a great pyramid deal, right? That you need a license to participate in that one.
That's right.
I say that with Jess because like the ignorant people say dumb stuff, right? Oh, it's a pyramid. Oh, okay, great. We can spend an hour on that one. Watch the podcast we did earlier today. I annihilate that one, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I annihilate that one. Yeah, they want you to start at the bottom of someone else's pyramid and try to climb the corporate ladder while someone's standing on your head. I mean, how smart is that? Fill out your resume and resume at the bottom of someone else's corporation that they busted their ass to build. And then one day, maybe, if you have the right last name or the right opportunity, you might get to move up and they pay you just enough money that you stay there and you work just hard enough that they don't fire you. I mean, what a great corporate America, man. That's where I want to be.
Absolutely.
I mean, and people, they don't, my dad worked for the same company for 40 plus years. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Downsized, resized, restructured. I met a guy today I was recruiting. He said he got strategically realigned. Right into ZipRecruiter. You lost your job, buddy, right? I got strategically realigned.
That's a good one.
That's a good one, right? Strategically realigned. Well, you got fired or you lost your job? He was in
You said that, didn't you?
What? I said, yeah. So you mean like you don't have a job right now? Or like, I said, what does strategically realign mean? But so I call Brad. I go, how am I going to, I'm at the Red Cross here, man. How am I going to get in on this little deal, right? I want to be able to, get involved. I want to get, put on top. I want to make this money on these guys. I'll send you people. You pay me. He's like, well, it's a regulated industry. It really doesn't work that way. I said, what do I got to do? He's like, you need to get your insurance license. I mean, a whole wave of school, and I hated school. I just didn't like it. I hated it. I just didn't like it. Here we go. So I went back then it was license coach. If you ever took license coach, I wanted to punch Coach Jenny right in the throat because I was just so annoyed by this guy. He makes it real easy. 20-hour course online. I'm like, oh my God.
Did you pass your first time?
Yeah, I got my license in 4 days.
I failed twice.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Wow.
I failed twice.
That makes me feel better.
Dude, you're smarter than me.
No, I had the ability to memorize and retain for a short period of time.
Well, you did it for 4 days, so that's good.
That's why I knew my weakness. I knew it. If I would have studied over 3 weeks, I would have forgot the first chapter 2 weeks in.
That's
so
funny.
I immediately, I was like, I got to crush this thing and do it in 4 days. So I got my license, and I thought that was the end of it, right? And I'm still doing my other stuff. And Brad goes, well, can you do a conference call for your guys? I said, about what? He's like, well, you're working with your mentor and the stuff that you've learned, and you motivate people. Because at this point in time, I had spent 10 years doing that, and I was good at doing it, building sales teams, built sales teams in the credit card processing business. And it was amazing because the same stuff he taught me in network marketing made millions of dollars. I used the same stuff in the credit card processing, made millions of dollars, and then transformed into the insurance business and made millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. People are people.
That's right. So
I thought, and this is just me, and if you do this, I don't want to push anyone back there, but sure. I just don't believe in trying to teach someone to do something I haven't done.
Wow.
I mean, because a lot of people, right?
There's a lot of that going on nowadays too.
Hey,
man.
You know what?
There's a lot of that.
Write a book about it, right? So
there you go. There you go.
If you can't do it, teach it. If you can't teach it, write a book about it, right? And I'm not saying if you write a book doesn't mean you can't do it, but if you are doing it and you teach and write a book, then kudos. If you haven't done it, how in the world can you teach someone to do something you haven't done? I can teach them success principles, but you can read that in any book and go to any podcast. You can listen to all sorts of success principles, but I never listed a house in MLS. If I never did this, if I never did that, like how in the world am I going to teach them to do it? So I said, Brad, I'm not going to go and try to motivate these guys to do something I never did.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, why don't you just go? This CEO is good. Yeah, he is good. You know the story right here. And he goes, well, why don't you just get some leads and go into the field? I said, because I don't want to. He's like, unless you think you can't.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that's all you got to tell me too, bro.
That's all you got to tell me is I can't. I said, fine. Who's your top guy, right? He activated my Prey Drive.
That's right.
Coach Burke calls the Prey Drive. He activated my Prey Drive. And I went, all right, who's your top guy? What are they doing, right? And so I got some leads, and I was horrific on the phone.
But they gave you a script, though, right?
Yeah, but I was horrific on the phone because I talk fast, I move fast. I'm like this. Right? So I'm like, hey, how are you doing? I'm just this name calling you back. I had bonus leads. I bought $3 leads.
So you didn't slow down on it all on the phone.
I was the same as I always thought I was. I was talking to business owners. What do they want? They want quick to the point and make it quicker. You don't have their attention. I bought 70 leads. I think like $500, $550 on 70 aged leads, I guess you call them. We call them bonus leads and $2,
bonus
$1.
That's a better way of putting it.
Bonus leads, yeah. Because they've already worked. Some of these worked 2 or 3 or 4 times, some 1 time or 2 times. And I called through 70 of them. and booked 3 appointments. I mean, called through 70 of them like one time. I like double dialed, triple dialed, call from different phone numbers. I got a hold of probably 45 of those and booked 3 appointments.
Oh my.
Right. So I called Brad up and my first question was, can I buy more leads? And he goes, why? I said, because I suck on the phone. I know it's eventually I just need to get better. And we role played on the phone, and then I got back on the phone and I booked 6 more appointments. Like in 2 hours. He's like, dude, you gotta slow down. Yeah, I'm in Texas too, right? You know,
Yeah.
One lady on the phone, she's like, "Sir, could you slow down, please?" I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna kill." So dialing has never been exciting for me. I don't like to dial.
No, but you're
It's a necessary.
really
evil.
good on the phone.
Yeah, but I want to shoot myself when I'm on there sometimes.
You're good.
I'm
with you.
Low and slow was the key, right?
That's right.
Low and slow.
Low, slow, and controlled, right?
Right. And so again, I you know, you build me up this great guy. I mean, because of the support structure and if you're in the insurance industry, it's important to have mentors and have a good support structure. I was an overpaid Uber driver. And what I mean by that, I went from one appointment to the next appointment, and I literally had 5 people. I had Matt, Brad, Edward, Paul Honeycutt, another person on speed dial. And I literally would call from the home. Now, I wouldn't suggest that because you want to learn some stuff, but I needed to make money right away, right? And I had 30 people I recruited in licensing before I got my license. Marlin was already licensed. We started bringing people. We took those 9 people. Took the things that I learned about recruiting, which we're going to talk about on a webinar later tonight, and I took those 9 people, turned it into 30, and eventually turned it into 69. So I had 30 people in licensing, and I backed myself in a corner, which I talked about earlier, which is key. I couldn't afford not to make it work.
Yeah.
Because now I had 30 eyes on me. I had 30 people looking at me like, what's Nate going to do? I had Marlin Faulkner looking at me going, what's Nate going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And my ego, which this is where it's healthy, goes, I ain't going to fail. I know that.
That's right.
So can I buy more leads? You know? And so, like, I wrote $15,000 in APV my first week. But, like, it wasn't because I'm impressive. It's just I knew people. And I was dumb.
Did you even know how to run an appointment?
No. I mean, they have a script, and they had I went to their boot camp, and they taught me. So, yeah, I mean, I knew how to run the appointment, but I just didn't. I mean, I was clueless. They had paper applications. I remember I called Brad from the home one time, and I'm sitting there, and I had this whole thing down where I'd say, hey, listen, we work with 35 different carriers. We have access to 400 products. It's impossible for me to keep up with all the different changes they made. I mean, it looks like they just changed the application. They're trying to make this easier on us, and it's actually harder. So I have a good friend of mine in the a marketing department. Let me just call him real quick. He gave me his cell number. I just want to make sure I don't write the wrong thing down because I don't think you want me to have to come back to the house and get another signature from you guys, right? Okay, great. So I'm on the phone, like, hey, Brad, I'm sitting here with Sally and Bob, and that wasn't their names, but. And right underneath their address, there's a line right here. I just want to make sure it said there, Social Security, and where there it says DL. What do I put there? And he goes, driver's license is my first appointment. swear. I said, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, great. That's what I thought. Hey, thanks, Brad. Appreciate it. And I skipped to the next line, and I came back because I felt so dumb.
Yeah, you didn't want to just
go, hey, can I have your driver's license, please? They're going to be like, dude, this guy's an idiot. And so it was just massive. I was taught massive action, constant correction. Massive action, constant correction. And then, that's what the company taught me. And then my mentor in my back of my ear, if you had to go out and make $10,000, and I said you had to make 10,000 mistakes before you make $10,000, how quickly would you make them? So, I was that guy, light yourself on fire and people will come watch you burn. So, I mean, it was just hustling and getting on the phone and making sure I had the appointments. And, a lot of people work 2 or 3 days a week in the field. That's great. I was working, I wasn't that. I mean, I was working 6-7 days. Whenever I could get an appointment, I was running it because I needed to make money. And I wanted to be at a point where I could make that money.
Did you still work at your other job as well?
It wasn't a job. It
was career or whatever,
company.
but yeah. Did you
after my first, when I had $40,000 deposit in my bank account within 2 weeks, I pretty much that was gone.
Left.
Yeah. I mean, I still kind of had some customers and stuff, but I mean, I was like, here's an opportunity.
Do you still make money from that?
No. It's very tough to these days with the different things to be able to continue to make money on it and stuff. But
$85K in 6 weeks, and you didn't even know what DL meant on an application.
Well, I can't help that I was dumb, but you know what I'm saying? Hey, there's hope. There's hope, right? There's hope.
Like,
there's definitely hope. But I had a good support staff, a good support team around me. and a great company I was working with and great resources. And
Yes.
and I turned my car into a rolling university. Another thing I learned from my mentor, where it was like when I was on the way to an appointment, I was listening to, here's what I learned. They said, successful, and this is what's so funny, you don't have to be smart to be successful. You just got to be a good cheater. And I don't mean that in a negative way. You just got to find someone who's having success. And if the words, what's that movie? I can't hear the words coming out of your mouth. But if the words that come out of your mouth are the words that come out of the mouth of the person that's successful, like I've never cold called. And don't put me up to this if I don't want to do it. But I know you do cold call trainings. I firmly believe if I studied you and listened to you and had your script on cold call training, I listened to you over and over and over again, and the words that you say come out of my mouth, that I could book appointments dialing through a list like you do on cold call.
A phone book. You literally could.
I could if I was disciplined to do it.
Yeah.
And so, like, there wasn't any more TV. There wasn't any more golf. There wasn't any more football. I didn't watch football for 3.5 years, and football is my favorite sport. But it's like I wanted to have the success that I wanted to have, and I was willing to give up the things that were important to me to get the success that I wanted to have. And so many people are not willing to do that. And that's why I truly believe a lot of them won't reach those higher levels, because they don't, want to give up what they have to get what they want.
You think you can train anyone to make $250,000 a year, don't you?
Anyone, no. Anyone who wants to and has commitment, yes. And that's the big difference.
That's good. That's good.
Not anyone.
That's good, because I set you up to agree with me, but I like that you're like, dude, if they don't want to, I can't.
I can't train someone that doesn't have commitment and the commitment. And what's exciting is that we at 8% Nation, which is how I first met you the first time I went there, and I'm coming again this year. And we're bringing our team, which we're super excited about. We got the suites, the team suites.
Yes.
So we got the two team suites filled up. Sorry,
yes.
We got those.
Yes.
And then a whole team seating area below. So we have probably about 80 to 100 people coming, and that's before we're even really aggressively promoting it.
At least.
Because we had a company event that was coming up on a cruise ship, which of course now Corona's knocked us out.
Yeah.
And we promote from event to event, right? So we were waiting until that event so we could push that event to get more people and come to be involved to hear, Jordan Belfort and Marshall Silver and Burt, Coach Michael Burt, Remiz. You have all these high caliber people. And the next day we're doing a SWAT event, the 1 day event, which I hope you can come to.
Dude, totally.
We're going to do a 1 day event on Sunday.
I'm probably speaking at it.
Yeah, I would love for you, Coach Burt, to speak at, but Marlin's going to be there, which is pretty awesome.
Yes.
So there's going to be people, and I'll be more than happy. We haven't talked about this. I'll be more than happy to open that up. We'll put some details in the comments below. We may have to get a bigger room because we already have like 100 people. We can figure it out.
That's true.
But I'll be more than happy to open it up the following day on Sunday if people want to stick around.
It's a good training, man.
And we're going to cover. Well, we're going to cover those how to identify someone.
You didn't think I would actually sit through the SWAT training in Dallas?
I didn't.
Because I spoke at it.
Yeah.
But I actually sat through the whole thing.
You did.
It was great.
Yeah.
I love it. Like events, getting around big time people, listening, like learning. Something about events. Events have changed my life, and I don't think a lot of people can say that. That's the one big reason we do 8%.
It does. It's life changing because you're around those people.
Well, and you talk about being around people. We met over the phone about a year ago, maybe a little less, about a year ago. You bought front row tickets at 8% last year.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten to know each other really well. Mm-hmm. Now you're speaking at 8% Nation 2020. You're not only sitting here.
You're letting the cat out of the
I'm
bag.
out. Yeah, dude, I'm letting the cat out of the bag. Like, I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
Like that's most people don't pay to be on the front row. They don't pay to get around people. They don't fly up to Springfield and just move into my house for a couple days because they want to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, yeah.
People don't go get what they want like you do.
Yeah.
And I just love that, that is because we're very alike, but we're very different. And a lot of things that we have in common is, I'm assuming I'm probably a better closer than you, but I know that.
Of course you are.
I know that.
We could do that too. We could have people throw objections and we can go back and close. We can have the closer school.
There we
that'd
go.
Be fun, right?
Closer survival.
Is that Brad Lee? We got to bring Brad Lee on there.
There you
too,
go. There you
school.
go. No, but you just go for stuff, man. When you want something, nothing gets in your way. And that's the one thing that separates the 92% from the 8% in our industry is Cardone always says if you don't quit, you can't fail.
Yep.
I don't want to quit. You don't want to quit. Marlin now doesn't want to quit. the people speaking at 8% don't want to quit. You know, the people buying fire tickets won't quit because of the amount of freaking money they're investing and how serious they are. Most people just don't. They're not serious, man.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about this morning too, is backing yourself in a corner. So I bought those tickets to be able to chance to network with you, right? And I know we're going over here, so we need to end this off. It'll be like the marathon interview that no one's gonna watch, right? But that next day on Sunday, having you potentially there, hopefully you'll be there, and Coach Burt, and being able to have Marlin Faulkner, I mean, he's amazing. And we're gonna go through that 2-hour training on how to identify those people, as well as we're gonna do some incredible things in terms of goal setting and what the real difference between a goal and commitment is. We're not gonna be sitting there and setting all these goals, and not that smart goals are bad at all, but he also took me through a way, which I was talking with you about the other day. And I wish I would have brought my cards, because I have these blue cards that I write down because they're friendlier to the subconscious mind. And he did a blueprinting your life. And it was like an hour exercise where it's just crazy, because I'll read them in the morning, I'll read them at night. And every one of those blue cards that I've written down, meeting you was on a blue card. Being friends with you, and I wish I would have had it, because I would have read it.
Gosh, that'd have been freaking cool.
I've been read it where it said, and I was taught to write it in the present tense, and it said, I enjoy the relationship that I've developed with Cody Askins in 2020. I love the fact that we've not only friends, but we're doing big things together to impact insurance agents across the country. My life is better because of the people that are in it, including Cody Askins. And I read it every morning, every night, because I was told, hey, the best time to program your subconscious mind is when you wake up in the morning before you go to bed. And I have physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, social, right? And we're going to talk about that at that next day as well. And that was another huge game changer in my life, because it was like, it's tough to have a good physical life if your finances aren't in order. Because when you shop at Whole Foods, it's more expensive when you go down to Target or Walmart. The quality of your education your kids get is, number one cause of divorce. Money. Second cause of divorce, children.
Yeah. So
I was taught to have your finances, get that game out of the way, so you can do what really is more important in life, which is the rest of it, right? And so it's just, I feel so blessed to, number one, to have you in my life, and just, you introduced me some incredible people. Now they're my best friends, and Coach Burt, he's coaching me as well. It just, it's surreal. It's like you want to pinch yourself, but I don't know about with you. It was like I knew I could get there. I just didn't know how. And one of the things I realized too is that, success is a journey, not a destination. You'll hear a lot of people talk about that, and people go, oh yeah, sure, whatever. It's not like you wake up in the morning, you say, I have a nice car, I'm successful now. I don't feel successful. Okay?
Success people never do.
I don't feel successful. I mean, because you're this little pea in this vast ocean. And when you look at some of these other people, it's like, I don't feel successful, but I do feel fulfilled. And I think that's what true success is. Like, if I died tomorrow, I would leave this planet with no regrets.
That's awesome.
With no regrets. Because I feel fulfilled. Like, I want so much more, and I want to impact so many people more, but like, it's not about the money.
No, we talked about money is literally a scoreboard.
We talked about it in the car today.
Because I don't even know how much money I make. Like, that's not why I do what I do. Most people think I make a lot more money than I actually probably even do.
Yeah, we like to talk about everyone else's money.
Yes. Yeah, we do.
How much we
do. And for me, it's like, it's more about the impact. We talked about that.
It is.
But it ends up being the scoreboard that we play on. And because I'm a competitive individual, it's just part of the game, dude. It's just part of the game. But for that agent out there that's watching right now, one last question. Unbelievable dude. Like, this dude is a freaking powerhouse. If you don't come to 8% Nation 2020 and see him speak, I swear to you, you will regret it for the rest of your life.
Come the next day. That'll be the real thing. The next day for Sunday, you'll have 8 hours of just you'll leave there fired.
Crazy
awesome.
Good. But
we might have to limit it because of how many people are going to.
Well, they got to reach out to you and get registered.
We'll put in the comments, and we'll give them a spot where they can get registered for it and link it up. But that'll be awesome.
For a new person struggling, the Marlin Faulkner,
right,
that's sitting there watching right now,
right,
that's like he was, and they've been struggling. They've never found success. They want it. They actually want it.
Mm-hmm.
They never found it. They struggled what to do, what to say, where to get it, how to do it. What do you got to say to them?
I would say the second thing that Marlin got really good at, because I would preach it day in, day out, was how to follow through with a commitment. And you'll hear me talk about that a lot because, goal setting, you hear that, you're like, oh boy, I set my goals. And goals is nothing more than a wish list that never gets accomplished. And Forbes and Inc. 5000, they talk about, 86% of the people never accomplish their goals. And I was talking about, like, I did credit card processing, and I had a client of mine who had a gym, and I was looking through his ACHs. They call it ACHs. They direct debit their account each month, and I was like, how in the world do you fit all these? This is how naive I was, right? How do you fit all those people in your gym? Because I don't work out, obviously, but anyway, I'm like, and he's like, what do you mean? I said, you have like 2,700 ACHs. Like, you only have like a 6,000 or 10,000, I don't know what it was, square foot building. He just laughed. He goes, they don't all come to the gym, Nate. I mean, I said it once. He goes, no, they don't all come to the gym at all. I said, what? And they're charging their card every month? He's like, yeah. He's like, in January, we have this big uptick, and by May, it trickles down to where there's maybe about 5 or 6 new full-time people we have at the gym, and then during the spring, it picks back up again because they want their summer bodies, and after the summer, it trickles down to about the same, maybe extra 3 or 4 more people. I was like, so what percentage out of those 2,700 people do you think actually consistently come to the gym? And he goes, 3 to 5.
Out of 2,700?
3 to 5%. 3 to 5%.
Wow.
Well, you say, wow. Then I thought, well, look at the book Think and Grow Rich. It talks about that 97% of people will retire on family, friends, and the federal government, and only 3% of people will ever achieve financial independence. So
yeah.
To me, it's great to have a goal, but without a commitment, it's hard to really achieve, or impossible, in my opinion, to achieve what you want. And see, if you look up in Webster, whoever Webster is, I don't know why we all agree with Webster.
Is that Mr. Webster or Mrs. Webster?
I don't know. Webster Dictionary. Like, who wrote Webster? Who decides what something means? But anyway, that's always I always wonder that. Like, who's Webster? Anyway,
Yeah.
A commitment is a pledge. Cut your hand, pledge. Pinky promise. Pledge to do something, right? Or it's a state, body, soul, mind, a state, right? Of being bound emotionally or intellectually to an idea, an ideal, or an event that you are going to do no matter what. That is a commitment. And see, a commitment in the NIV version, the Nate International Version,
yes,
is when I make a commitment, I give up the ability to do what I want until I get done what I committed to. Right? I'll say it again. I give up the ability or the choice to do what I want until I have followed through with what I committed to.
Exactly.
I mean, you can have the nicest car with the nicest engine, and a commitment's like your transmission. The transmission ain't going to go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere.
Most people don't actually commit all the way.
Oh, I mean, and people want it both ways. They want you to commit. Can you imagine your staff? I mean, you have this huge staff of people, right? And I was talking to your sales team about this today, but like if the roles were flipped, everyone wants you to commit, right? Can you imagine if they came in on Friday, and they show up and they're expecting their paycheck, and they don't have it? And they go, Cody, what happened? Oh man, I had a little bit too much drink last night, and sorry about that. We'll try to get out Monday or Tuesday. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they'd walk out.
They'd flip the lid. They'd
leave.
walk out.
They would leave.
It'd be over. Right? Or you run a sales contest like you did the 10X Grant Cardone or the NBA Finals, which they're probably not going to have now because of the coronavirus at this time of the filming. Or you're the Major League Baseball thing, whatever it is, you run this contest and they're working hard and they're working late and everything else. And, you had to leave the office and Rodney calls you up or Tucker calls you up and says, hey man, I'm like 2,000 away from winning this contest and I really want to do it. I'm a huge basketball fan. I'm taking my son, we're going to do it. Can you come by? I got to jump out and run home for dinner, but I want to come back because I know I can probably reach the people from 7 to 9. Can you leave the office unlocked for me? And you go, sure, no problem. I'll come back and unlock it. And there he is. He's like 2 sales away. He's been working 90 days. He's at the door, pulling the door. The door's locked. He's calling your phone, answering the phone, calling your phone. And you don't answer, right? And he misses it. He disappoints his boy. He comes in, Cody, what happened, man? Oh, I got my throat, a little, I was a little cough. I just wasn't feeling well, man. I'm sorry. I turned my phone off. I'll run another contest. Don't worry about it. Like, how would that play off?
Not good.
But flip the script, right? It's okay I don't show up today. It's okay I don't do my dials. It's okay I didn't have enough appointments. It's okay I didn't commit to my thing. So in my organization, when you ask how I run it, you make a goal and commitment. And I work with, I think Landon asked me today, he said, how do you motivate your team? I don't motivate my team. I work with people who follow through with commitments because they're the only ones that deserve my time. My mentor always said, work where you deserve, Nate, not where you need them. And you don't have to play the commitment game, but if you make a goal and commitment and you want to be held accountable, because I think you got to be held accountable. Accountability is one of the number one ingredients to success.
Yeah,
and everyone, it's like rain, right? Everyone knows they need it, but they don't want it.
That's right.
When it's their birthday.
That's why we started Success Society.
Right.
Weekly accountability.
There you go. They don't want it when it's their birthday, right? Everyone loves rain. They don't want it if it's their church picnic. They want it when it's convenient for them. Well, another thing I learned from mentors is success will never be convenient. So you got to have a commitment, and it's your integrity, and you have to follow through. I mean, if you were me and I were you, right, and you were moving, and I said, hey, I'll help you move. Yeah. And you're loading up a moving truck, and on Friday you call me up and say, oh, yeah, man, I'm so sorry, I forgot about it. I'd love to come over here, but my wife, we had dinner plans. She didn't tell me, no big deal. But, hey, I promise I'll be here tomorrow morning because it's a 3-day move, right? I'll be here tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., sharp, no holds barred. I'm like, okay, great. I'm like, oh, this sucks. They're doing it all by themselves. The next day morning, you're not there. Right? Or you show up at 11 or you show up at 12. Oh, what happened? Oh, my kid's soccer game. I mean, it only takes 2 or 3 times before you start losing faith in that person.
No doubt.
You're going to go, what they say, I can't count on. And what's that? That's my integrity.
Yeah, it is.
That's my word. And I'm not going to sacrifice that. And that's why you'll hear when I make commitments, I always say them out loud. I'm committed to do this. I'll tell people the commitment. And I love what Ed Milet says because he said, there's a way to develop self-confidence. It's by keeping promises to one's self. And there's a magic in that because you're either building your self-confidence or you're destroying it. And that promise and that commitment, no matter how small it is. I was talking to your sales guy and one of them felt a little bit, how's your commitment going? I said, your commitment doesn't have to be a sale. Maybe your commitment today is I'm going to dial until I talk to 25 people. Yeah. And tomorrow I make a commitment, I'm going to dial until I talk to 30 people. Start with something you have control over that because you can. You can dial until you get the phone to 20 people. Right?
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Even cold calling.
Start that and go from there. And so that is what Marlin got really good at too, as well, as when he started to set a goal, but he also made a commitment. And he'd follow through that with that commitment. And that would be another underlining thing, if you call it success, that I would probably give credit to for having any of the success that I've had, is being able to really attach my integrity as my commitment. And I'm going to do whatever it takes, no matter what, no matter how, unless I'm laid up in a hospital somewhere, which I would pay someone then to follow through with my commitment.
There you go.
And if you talk to anyone I work with or anybody I've been around or any of my business partners, the one thing I'm proud that they'll say about me is like, Nate will do what he says he's going to do.
That's big, dude.
And I don't make a commitment unless I know I can do it.
No doubt about it.
You've asked me to do a couple of things that I don't make a promise I can't keep.
Yep.
I'll do my best, but I'm not making a commitment. And that's huge. And and the more and more I'm around successful people, the majority, if not all, when they make a commitment, they follow through.
Yes, they do. I hope you guys follow through after listening to this, dude. Thank you, buddy. Awesome job,
thank
bro.
you.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate it, man.
It's only going to get better. He's going to be speaking at 8% Nation 2020. Dude, from literally no insurance experience to $85K in 6 weeks, recruiting 69 in 60 days. You got to see this dude at 8%. Thanks for watching another episode of Insurance Influencers. This
Thank you for having
dude,
me on.
Mr. Nate Auffort, is an insurance influencer. Go check him out. Add him on Facebook. We're gonna get his personal brand blown up. He's gonna be all over the place.
Don't be surprised my last post when I got married 7 years ago, but Cody's gonna work on that for me, I guess. So
dude, thank you, buddy.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch and listen, and hopefully if I can have an impact on just one of you that like my mentor had an impact in my life, then it was worth the rant, as I'd call it. So thank you so much, guys. Look forward to meeting all of you.
Thank you. Hey, if you love this interview, unbelievable interview. I talked about the power of events, and you guys know that I love events. I want to share everything I learned at Grant Cardone's 10X Growth Conference event. It's right there. Click on that video, and I'll see you there. That was the biggest thing I took away from Grant Cardone's 2-day mastermind. In the first hour, he spent the first hour talking about an ideal life.